He wants to go Ezreal here, probably maybe just to have a little bit more dodging of the Ash arrows. Now what does Immortals do with the closing picks? Oh, there it is.
There it is. The Yasuo is locked in. I actually looked this up just before the game. And one of the last ones we've seen Immortals play, I'm sorry, Huni playing Yasuo was against Cloud9 when he was on Fnatic.
Yeah, in Worlds, and that was against Balls' Darius. That's the throwback right there.
So we're going to run it back here now against Impact.
I don't think they won that game either.
No.
Led to a Darius pentakill.
Yeah, that was Darius. We'll see what they could do this time. What will the last lock-in be? It will be from the Void still. It will be Malzahar for Jensen.
Yeah, and like you said, this is one of the more common picks against the Vladimir. In laning phase, specifically, the Vladimir usually gets advantages, but the Malzahar still has some great team fighting later in the game because you can kind of neutralize the Vladimir from that sense. Immortals, though, have a whole bunch of damage from their solo lanes this time, and they have a tank line still, which is really important. Also, a lot of times, Yasuo is a tank.
Exactly.
So that's the new world we live in.
I want to see what build he actually goes for, because we know Huni is the damage shielding guy. Is it still that Phantom Dancer and that crit build with an IE, or is he going with the Frozen Force and the Trinity Mallet type build?
Frozen Force build.
Frozen Force.
Yeah, let's do it.
I've heard it both ways.
Yeah.
We saw Huni taking a moment to himself there on camera during the picks and bans, eyes closed, getting that concentration in. Well, we know why now. A lot of pressure put on him in the top lane with this Yasuo pick, as it is and could be game point for Immortals. Make sure you keep those votes coming and updated on Twitter by using the hashtag IMTWin or the hashtag C9Win, and let us know your picks to take the victory. Immortals are doing what they can here to pull out a composition that will wow, surprise, and shock and awe Cloud9 here so they can keep this series alive.
And this looks like an Immortals composition that you would expect coming into it. This feels like more of their style. High damage laners, nothing in the top lane that would be something low and tanky. And I feel like banning away those top lane champions and putting pressure on it and changing up your ban phase, like you said, Jat, has led to Immortals in a more comfortable spot in this game 3.
Yeah. It's really interesting how the double marksman ban here led them to be able to get... They still get the marksman they wanted later in the draft. They still get the first pick Rek'Sai. Really, all that Cloud9 got out of all the power picks that fell through the draft is they get a Shen and a Gragas, things that didn't even necessarily seem like power picks to them in previous games. So normally very complimentary of Reaper's first 2 drafts. This one, while it could still work because they're tanks with a damage-dealing core of Malzahar and Ezreal, still the same theme of a team composition, seems like they gave a lot over to Immortals.
Yeah, and you're talking about the 3 tanks with 2 damage dealers. It's not even a crit AD carry. A little bit on the lower side with more poke in team fights. So you have to think about this Vladimir. If Pobelter gets off the ground, how difficult is it going to be to actually kill him? And on top of that, there's a wind wall that will supplement that and stop him from going down from those ranged attacks. You have to make your damage matter if you are Cloud9.
That's not how a sword comes out of a sheath.
Just out of the side of it.
What do you know, Riv? Didn't you just see it? Clearly he can do it.
It's job. I just learn something every day.
Yeah.
He's so fast at drawing it out. It just looks like that.
We'll see how fast he is against Impact. Both will be dealing with their swords in just a few minutes. And we see the matchup in the top lane. A bit of fervor.
Fervor Ezreal, as is customary.
Yep.
Warlord's Ash. Not too surprising.
Yeah, the fervor for the Yasuo, even if he goes tank, is still incredibly important. A lot of his physical damage comes from that and stacking it up. And it applies on his Qs as well, so you get almost twice as much value from running it.
We'll see if anything actually comes of this level 2. Both teams obviously going to match it up here. The level 6 becomes pretty big for the IMT side of the lane, especially with that Ash Arrow and the crowd control they can create. Sneaky and Smoothie have been able to really put up the aggression in the beginning, so this will be interesting to watch. I wonder what the jungle presence will be like for the top lane as well. If Huni is left alone once again, or if they actually try to get Impact down and focus him.
Yeah, what types of routes are we going to see by Meteos and Rainover? Rainover really looking to get back to that dominance he had in the regular season. Immortals were so good with getting Rainover just massively ahead of every single jungler. He would always just be able to predict where the other jungler would be, and he really really crush junglers whenever they try to gank. He'd always know exactly how to start them as much as possible, and then cycle them over and over again. That hasn't been the case on the 6.15 patch. I think junglers were the most affected of all roles, surprisingly, when we switched from lane swaps to standard lanes, just because there was so many different scenarios you had to be ready for in lane swaps, and those scenarios just simply change when you go into standard lanes, and it's so much about active reading and active prediction. And it seems like Reignover hasn't been able to keep that level of dominance he had in lane swaps to standard lanes.
Lucky for him, though, there is an Ashe who can hawkshot and spot the Gragas at his camps, so he'll have a little bit of a heads up there. Definitely a little bit helpful, since he needs kind of that comfort too. They have to reverse sweep if Immortals want to make Worlds, and he has been the pressured member in the early game from this entire Cloud9 team. It has been a warding effort from the pretty much every member, and Meteos just bullying him every moment he could.
It seems that it would be a task as well. One game here, the team definitely has to come together. But we haven't seen the explosion we would expect out of any members of Immortals coming into this game. It seems like that pressure is kind of dragging them all down a bit, even though they still have that chance to come back. The reverse sweep against the reverse sweep Kings would definitely be something to see here. Already getting a lane pushed, giving themselves a little breathing room. While Turtle may get himself back here. Looks like he's actually ran too far back, so he'll be staying for the long haul. Pushed up again to the top side turret, and not much of a lead there, or in the mid lane, as I think things may be even more calm here than we had in game 1 to start things off.
Yeah, unlike game 2 as well, I don't feel like C9 has necessarily picked winning lanes early on. The Shen and the Yasuo can shove in faster than the Shen. Kobelther, especially once he gets in magic resist, is going to be able to do some good things against Malzahar, and the Ashe Braum versus the Ezreal Trundle isn't necessarily a favored matchup for C9 either. They're going to have to do some creative things to not fall behind Immortals here and get snowballed out of the game.
Yeah, they're going to have some really creative fights using their tank line and playing it appropriately, because Immortals just have a lot of damage, and playing it appropriately. Here comes Reignover from the back.
Ooh, early exhaust. The flash is there, a pillar as well, but they may just be able to follow through with the damage. Sneaky holds the heal, makes sure he uses it when necessary, and he may actually have Adrian's number. The team as well puts himself in there as a meat wall, and there will be no follow-up kill.
That's crazy. As soon as you get a gank, and you walk away with less HP on your support, and the same number of summoner spells blown.
That's exactly it. You can actually consider that a failed gank.
Yeah.
Even though it looked like it could have been very effective, they just didn't have the burst onto the Trundle, very tanky. The exhaust actually goes on to Reignover, as he's potentially dealing more damage than Wild Turtle at that stage in the game. And what a great way to fight back for C9. That helps them stay in this one, because they have actually been losing the lane.
It's a really good pillar from Smoothie, too. He knew that the stacks were coming onto him, so he pillared himself away from the 2 melee members that were going to stack it up immediately. He already blew his flash, too. It's crazy that he made it out of that.
And that was a repeat, too. We saw that happen in game 1. Reignover did the same thing when Meteos was at the top side playing on Zac, and they were able to walk away from that kill, kind of getting the exhaust out of them. So it puts up Cloud9. They have used the summoners. Will it be a repeat gank, though? Because Turtle and Adrian also had to blow 3 of their own.
Yeah, that means if Meteos wants to get Cloud side and he can get in there without wards, it's incredibly effective as well. That puts both of those bottom lanes kind of on notice. And what's interesting is Sneaky has Arcane Shift. So he actually has the freedom, so to speak, to play a little bit more aggressive now.
He also has that flash, too. It's the heal for Wild Turtle.
True.
So Wild Turtle doesn't have any mobility summoners left. Meteos, it would be a pretty clean gank for him.
Huni starting to dominate ever so slowly that top lane, as he's forcing Impact to consistently farm under the turret, just completely pushing the wave. Truly the only thing you can put against Impact here. He will outfarm, he will outpace, and do everything he can if that lane is even. So Huni knows he just has to keep it pushed up in his face. Trading back and forth, Impact can still deal a bit of damage here, as Huni stepping a little too close to the fire.
And you can tell that he's going for the wave clear as well, because he's putting all of his points into Q as Yasuo. A lot of Yasuos will max E first, or even 3 points Q, 5 points E. But he's just trying to make sure that he can Q through multiple minions and just get those stacks and make sure that he's dealing a lot of damage from a range that is quite good using the Fervor.
Yeah, it's also going to be tricky up against Impact, one of the original Shen players.
Yeah.
This is key champion back in 2013 in Worlds. And even though Shen's kit has changed, the skills you need to be a great Shen haven't really changed that much. You still need to time your taunt in the right spot. You need to have great timing on your stand United. That's something Impact has always been able to do.
And right now, it's an Infernal Drake. It's incredibly important, and they know Reignover is on it. They saw him go in there.
He's
Now everybody's hurt.
Has to take the tunnel. Level 6s aren't hit for everybody just yet. Actually, just the support. So there is a lot of power to be thrown around
dicey.
here.
Drake has not reset yet, so it's a few hits and a smite away.
And Reignover is so low.
Huni and Impact are just sitting in the top lane, waiting to come in and help their team here if anything were to happen. They're farming it out very slowly, cautious of the fight. A pinch here by Immortals.
Oh!
There's the teleport from both teams. Meteos and Reignover on the backside, forced in and out. And there's the hit. That's going to be Adrian going down along with Reignover. Cloud9 getting pushed into their base. And this is Pobelter going hard on the Vlad. Impact's able to clean up kills on the backside, but I think it's going to be Immortals that come up big on this one as Cloud9 are trying to scatter from the dragon fight.
And Meteos abandons the pit and delivers Impact on the other side of the wall. That was huge. The Shen had to burn a summoner to get back in.
Both of them actually flashed back into the pit after that one, so a big misplay by Meteos right at the Drake. Not only do they lose the Infernal Drake, they also lose the fight.
See that one again in just a second, but
Yeah, that's a facepalm moment.
definitely not as slow as I thought things would be in the beginning. You said Infernal Drake, and both teams knew it had to be taken as well.
Yeah. Not to mention the smite steal was for Reignover, but right here, he has the Shen coming in, and he's a little bit afraid he's going to die, because the Shen shield gets burned right away, and he's like, oh no, I have to run. Wait, I had a Shen here.
Exactly.
The Spirit's Refuge also gets used on the other side. You want to be going in to deliver the Shen, not out with the Shen on the other side of the fight. He could have aided and maybe even closed on to Wild Turtle, and this could have been a completely different fight if Impact didn't get taken on a journey by Meteos outside of the Drake pit.
Exactly. If he's brought to the other side towards his team, you just delivered 2 tanks over a wall and made it so they don't have flash body slam, flash taunt, and an ability to actually peel.
Really unfortunate.
But yeah, Immortals get so much out of that. Not only the Drake, but more kills and 1,000 gold lead already on top of that. And the kills are all in the right places too. They're not landing on supports or even junglers at this point. It's going to those damage dealers on Immortals.
Back to the lanes. The one fight down. Seems like last game they were trying to break out of this, but Immortals still feels like they can grab an advantage here from getting back into it. Turtles CS up for the first time in this lane here, and they did get that dragon in their favor, so able to pick up a better early game than usual. We'll see if Immortals can carry this one through.
Yeah, the question is how well can Reignover punish as well. I'm really looking forward to Pobelter in this game. He's gotten the good start on Vladimir, and we already saw him going really aggressive in those fights.
Right. That's the thing we remember. Pobelter in the kind of dragon fights, flashing over the wall, Tides of Blood to get a double kill or a triple kill. He is not afraid to do that.
Yeah, and with the Cassiopeia ban and not coming through for Cloud9, because that is what gave Pobelter his first loss on Vladimir. He was 7-0 before that game 1.
Nobody's screaming in your face when you jump in for the kill. I like this fight.
It's a very long fight, but I don't know if Yasuo wins this. He's actually just baiting.
I was thinking they're just doing this to kind of eat each other's HP, but Reignover definitely had an idea of coming in for the kill.
Beautiful.
Wild Turtle flashes after that.
Whoops.
Fisher comes out. A good block or a good hit on concussive blows there. Stop him from going down. They're still going to want it. Very nice. Pillar denies him. It does deny him.
Oh, he gets the
The
shield.
ability to get away.
Stand United comes
Live.
through.
Wow.
But he might give up turret.
United. It's going to probably cost them the first turret of the game. And as he can go back and
TP back.
save it.
Oh, does it? TPing back. He only missed a few CS there, and obviously it was huge. They said, no, TP back. First brick is big.
Just Shen things. Teleport down to the bottom lane just for the shield, all the way back up. That takes away a bunch of pressure. Like the hit there is actually pretty huge. And it'll be interesting to see if he can now hold the turret from Huni.
Yeah, he didn't get back to buy either, so you'd think he's on his Sunfire cape about now.
Yeah.
Really love that. This was well played by Immortals with the triple knock-up there from Adrian. The flash from Wild Turtle, but then he tries to juke. He would have been hit by it anyways. A good catch from Meteos. Then he dodges forward again, still eats the sneaky R, and then just goes forward and right.
Yep.
That looked like the turret shot hit him. Hold up.
Oh, Huni very low. Pobelter's going
Back.
for the... Got it. Went for the pool kill. Very, very slow tick of death there. Impact falls to the floor. And now it looks like they may be able to get this to never mind. Jensen's coming around from the side.
It's going around. Rainover was there first, so he has the inside track, and they're going to put damage onto him.
Belter can't get too close here. They can blow him back into the fight. He still has that cask up. Meteos decides not to throw it because of the wind wall was up. That was actually huge from Huni to save his teammate's life.
Sneaky's ultimate just came off cooldown. Does he try?
He's trying to route them. He has that ultimate up. No, he's gonna stop. I got too excited.
Solo, 3 blinking health bars. The turret still stands though, so C9 defend it and don't let the lead get out of their hands just yet.
Yeah, but the kills are going over exactly where Immortals want them to. Phantom Dancer already on Huni to try and give him better dueling. Defensive itemization from Belter, as is customary for his Vladimir, and the 202 Vlad is going to be a problem.
And the Shen just does so much damage, but Belter was already en route. Picks up the kill while he's in the W. It does tick down for a percent of his own HP, so the tanky build does pay off there. Takes him out, and then Rainover has the inside track, and this is what matters, because if Jensen was here a little bit faster, if he used his ghost to even try and get in this faster, Rainover was just a little bit ahead of him.
Meteos trying to keep him in the null.
That wind wall. That wind wall stopped a Jensen auto attack. That would have finished off Rainover.
Stopped a lot.
And they get the turret anyway.
Solo gold onto Huni too. So he's sitting 1,200 gold up over Impact right now.
And just about 3,000 gold overall. And this is what we saw Cloud9 doing in the last 2 games. Always in Immortals jungle. Now it's been flipped around. Immortals is getting the blues of C9. They're starting to steal the resources. And with that first turret, they can start to act on what we've expected Immortals to do most likely.
Exactly. And I think right from the get-go, the composition just feels more Immortals-like. And that's what they're doing, is having those skirmishes and trying to put pressure on the map. Whereas before, they were playing defensive and kind of waiting for spikes or waiting for moments. But Cloud9 was able to wrap around that. Whereas this game, it's going to be kind of a brawly game.
I'm excited about that.
Yeah, it's play-by-play.
So the Cloud goes over to Immortals as well as that first Infernal. Phantom Dancer for Huni in the top lane to start things off, as he is going to get himself into quite a few fights. We'll see things as the ultimates cool down on the side of Sneaky as they clear waves in the bot lane. Still pretty locked into this kind of laning phase. We see Huni doesn't have a turret to fight against here. Just an impact.
Yeah, and he's doing a pretty good job of it. Just wait until he gets a frozen mouth. That's going to be, I think, a pretty big problem for Impact.
He got the flash out of Impact,
flash.
regardless.
Yeah, that also diminishes Impact if he ever does try and stand United down to a fight. So, yeah, things are consistently going over to Immortals, and I have to credit them here. After 2 pretty quick losses, 32 minutes, I believe, and 31 minutes in the next game, to change up their bans, get back to what they want to do. And what's interesting here is they still managed to pick a lot of CC in the bottom lane, which is something they haven't found the most success with since they've started doing it. But they stack it down there with Wild Turtle and Adrian. They still do well in the laning phase, but they have Belter on Huni on very favorable matchups.
Yeah, and they have a lot of ways to follow up here too. If you get a really good Braum ultimate, it's like Huni's going to jump in on that. Like he's going to be able to capitalize on that. So they still have combinations here. But that CC in the bottom lane, we haven't seen it completely play out just yet, and it's been a lot of just brawling with the top side in the middle. So Belter, like you said, really excited to see what he ends up doing in the later parts of this match.
The other synergy we have to talk about as well is Rainover flashing in for an Unburrow and allowing him to go in. And that speaks back to what we hit on in Game 1, where Immortals really succeed when Huni and Rainover are empowered to make plays. And then the bottom lane and kind of everyone else follows up with that. And they could very well do that with this. You Unburrow on someone who gets knocked up by Yasuo, that allows an Ash Arrow to land or a Braum ultimate to then chain the knockup afterwards. And you can still allow Rainover and Huni to be the playmakers and follow up well.
And that's how I actually think it would even start, with that Ash Arrow, because nobody else can step in to help block, or you all get tornadoed. It's almost like you have to be set up for Huni here if you want to save that person that gets hit. Really great conditions that Immortals can set up for these fights. Cloud9 knows it. They're staying spread. They don't want to see those. We're only 17 minutes in, and it seems like, as picked for the lanes, Immortals is being able to come out on top.
So this is actually really cute that I'm noticing here from Huni. The wind wall will stop the Q from returning to Shen, so he can't W on himself. So he can't actually use the Spirit's Refuge because it blocks the blade.
That really sucks for Shen.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. Oh, man.
Oh,
Today I learned.
first Rift Herald coming in here as well. That's going to go over to Huni.
Yeah, that's why he's been wind walling backwards every time he goes in onto Shen. I'm like, he doesn't have a projectile. What's going on? He's blocking the blade. It's nice. He's getting another advantage here, too. We haven't seen a lot of Rift Heralds actually go down since 6:15. People are focused on turrets.
Shows you just how much of a lead here. As you were saying, Jad Immortals is able to come out with shaken. No, confidence, not at all. They're feeling great coming into this game. They know each game is new. Right now, they're in that best of 3 that they need to win.
Meteos was in position to think about a dive, but the poke hadn't landed on Adrian or Wild Turtle, so they call it off. And to speak about them being shaken or not, when they were coming back from the huddle, we're very close to them on stage when they're casting here, so I got to see Immortals grouped up. It was all smiles in their huddle. Like they were really excited about this upcoming game, perhaps because they felt like they had a great strategy coming into it, and they're going to let Huni play Yasuo, all these things coming together. Then just to their benefit, they also get Vladimir for Pobelter, and it's transitioning very, very well.
And they had their whole support staff on stage, too. And their sports psychologist. They were able to have a nice breaking chant, too.
And it's got to feel good for fans of Immortals as well. I was saying earlier that that's any chance for either team to win a game in that 30 minutes, and now Immortals is showing that that is a possibility. They said to get that early game for themselves here, where Cloud9 has actually really heightened their game.
Yeah, and Immortals with that advantage now in their early game. They already have one Infernal. There's another one on the table in 90 seconds.
Yeah.
That's going to be what Immortals are going to be trying to look at here.
Stopping them from being able to come back. Oh,
Look at that out of range as well. Just flips it on the side. Takes a few
Huni still wants this.
many shots. Ooh, he tried to taunt him right back into the turret. Was just out of range of that as well.
Yeah, now Huni gets to keep Impact all the way at his turret for pretty much the rest of the game because that Frozen Mallet is completed. Impact can't really go away from that safe area. And it's also an interesting conundrum, too, because if he's just stacking armor, if there's this Vladimir that he's going to eventually have to deal with, and oh boy.
Oh, no pop-up. It's a good taunt, but the flash was blown there. This gives Immortals the top side, and whether or not they're still in laning phase in the bot, top is getting destroyed here. Movements are being made even without bottom lane of Immortals, which has been also winning this game.
And C9 is always the ones reacting there. Jensen was stuck in the mid lane, but they might be going for a fight. Here's Jensen.
Meteos flashed to put himself right in the front, threw out the cast, and it looks like they are going to be able to get Huni down here as they put enough resources towards the top side.
Yeah, but that means the bottom side only has an AD carry, no support there. And this turret, I'm checking in on it right now, it's pretty much full HP, so it is going to be a lot of work to actually take it down.
The question is, how aggressive do they actually want to get, though? They have Ash Arrow.
Yeah.
They have all summoner spells.
Adrian could walk forward, try to tag Sneaky.
Yeah, they want to respect Impact's teleport because that could hurt that fight pretty substantially. C9 still fighting back to stay in this one, but a lot of things are trending towards Immortals doing well, especially if Huni can teleport into this fight. He just respawned. Look out.
Sneaky is just about to pop his Muramana. About 724 out of 750. The fight will ensue. That is Meteos taking down the dragon. Sneaky very, very low. Gets himself to the back. Jensen gets focused up a bit, and he gets locked down. Turtle with the focus fire and the rest of the team, and now they're starting to clean up one for one as they continue to push Cloud9 back. Can they get through it? Can they slalom the correct way? One cannot get it. The Tempest does not come out. Huni's just going to go for the kill. I thought he was actually going to go for Sneaky as well. And they may just decide to go here. Huni usually doesn't give up too easily.
An incredibly risky move for C9 to go there. They did not want to let Double Infernal go over to IMT, but now they're down a man, and Impact desperately trying to save this turret.
Going after Meteos now.
This is the kind of play expected from Huni. Continuously on you. And it doesn't look like they're going to go away without taking down that turret. True Shot Barrage comes through. Adrian able to stand beside his team and jump away. Nice job by Immortals. The play that everybody has been looking for and expected to see coming into this game.
And we've been talking about how this looks like more of an Immortals type composition. That's more of an Immortals type fight there, where you try to get something off of them, they start flanking you, and then they have all these damage dealers coming in from different angles, and Rainover, not picked off before the fight, definitely helps. Gets in there, flashes, goes after Meteos, so now he's got to tunnel back in, didn't use it originally. Jensen gets hit by an arrow, interrupted. They use so much on him. even the last breath, and they take out Jensen immediately when Sneaky was already getting chunked out on the side.
And pretty much as soon as C9 got that Drake, they were trying their best to run away. I think they actually did a pretty good job of it, only suffering that one casualty on the Jensen as he was trying to lock up the Vladimir. But then they overstayed at the mid lane turret, which helps Immortals extend their advantage.
Yeah, exactly. And these are, like, this is a 2-threat composition from Cloud9, and if they throw everything at Jensen, Sneaky, that Ezreal, well, he's still not that same type of hyper carry, AD carry that, you know, you would usually have on a composition that is 2 threats and have somebody that would need protection from the Shen. So they're throwing everything at Jensen, trying to get him off the field, just so that they only have one person to kind of be conscious of or deal with. And another thing on that is, like, the kills haven't even been going to the right people on Cloud9. It's Meteos, who already has a Guardian Angel because he's 3-1 and 2, and he's been getting a lot of those kills in those last hits.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised the Pobelter hasn't gone for QSS for his third item. He's already working towards the Zhonya's Hourglass, but if they did that, and they had the QSS on both the Yasuo and the Vladimir, I feel like they would do a pretty good thing to nullify Jensen. Expect to see it eventually?
Yeah, there's already one onto Huni for both the Shen taunt and also the ultimate from Jensen, and that's going to be that bottom turret going down. There's just so much pressure here. You see Huni on the top side, doesn't even have a global, and he's still trying to pressure this because he knows if Impact leaves, the turret's his.
Immortals has created so much pressure in this game, they could probably even make a few mistakes here and still be on the side of Cloud9, giving themselves a lot of room with about a 6,000 gold lead. Even more than the 3K we saw Cloud9 having over Immortals last game at this point in time. Immortals really putting their foot down and trying to find that confidence that brought them to this position, that brought them to pretty much perfect records in each split. It's been lacking in the playoffs, and they're finally able to find a bit of it here.
And their solo laners are 2,000 gold ahead each on Immortals, both Pobelter and Huni. And these are 2 champions that you don't want to have that far ahead of you.
Yeah.
Because even having just one ahead is usually a death sentence for a team, but having both ahead is very difficult to deal with in these team fights.
It's exactly where you want your gold leads as well. The 3 biggest advantages on their team are top, mid, and AD. So all of their damage threats are there, and it's not like their tanks are that far behind. It's just a matter of setting up the right fights, and I think that starts with Huni having the right split pushing. The Voidling sounds, I feel like, very loud in that last push.
Also, Jet, you were very correct. I think everybody went in with a Quicksilver Sash coupon.
There we go.
You got Pobelter and Turtle being able to bring one out.
Buy one, get one free.
Buy one something.
No one sharing with Rainover, though. Uh-oh, speaking of which, couldn't get it off.
He's all right. He says, that's not my fashion. I'll just take the hits. A little bit of love for Impact here as they put a few of the concussive blows on him, or I should take Winter's Bites.
Top turret's probably going to go down here.
Yep.
Huni's actually not focusing on that. He's focusing on cutting off Impact.
Whoop. Just missing the feathers on the arrow there. It looks like Huni's going to say, got this turret. Everybody just give me a bit of a human wall halfway across so we can get a fight going. Adrian almost giving himself up to Meteos there. Jensen in a bad spot as all of Immortals push forward. There really isn't a line here for Cloud9 anymore. They are in scatter mode, and IMT is living with slivers of health, which is pushing Cloud9 a little bit farther in the fights, only costing them more as Immortals take this one.
Massive fight for Immortals, and just like we were talking about, the way they can start is if Huni goes up towards the top lane, and he was gunning for Impact Shen. C9 tried to defend him as they're running through the jungle. Immortals collapse on that. They get 3 quick kills, and now they turn for Baron.
And right here, Huni sitting on his teleport right now, waiting to come in. He could be used there,
for a
but
fight.
Exactly. He's waiting for Sneaky to go a little too far forward. There's the teleport behind.
And he's got Flash to try and follow Sneaky.
Pillar. Stops it up.
And this is a long lane.
Who does he go for? Well, Sneaky can get completely cut off here.
He gets a knockup.
Who needs it?
Not him. And now they have Baron. They have a lot of members on this top side. AD carry is down as well. They're going to push this top side.
Yeah, they do not want to relent. Adrian's quite low. Pobelter's ultimate not quite up yet, but they're going straight in with the wind while seeing how much they can get while C9 has a dead AD.
Trying to get that turret onto Pobelter. Neither here nor there for Immortals. They know what they can take, and they know their boundaries as they enter Cloud9's base 3 minutes early of both of Cloud9's wins, and they look to finish this one. They aren't leaving without a fight. Cloud9's going to have to put one up here as Immortals walking around Bit of 1,000 HP on that top side between those two. They are being very risky right now.
Yeah, big minion wave hitting the mid as well, so they don't necessarily have to end, but they can probably walk away with 2 inhibitors, or at least they clear the turret for it. Such a push right here.
Yeah, a gigantic minion wave as well. 25 seconds onto Jensen. That's going to give enough time for the disengage. And the worst thing you could possibly give up here is a Mountain Drake, where you don't really need a Mountain Drake right now with all these structures down from Immortals. No, it would be a sacrifice they are willing to make if it gets countered.
Yeah, that last sequence by Immortals was really strong.
How IMT got their groove back, apparently, inside of this series, because down 0-2, there is so much pressure on you. If you were feeling the pressure of your performance in the first 2 games, this is the type of game you need to get your mojo back, to start feeling confident again. And this is a dive, they kill the turret, all while doing this, and then the knockup goes on to Impact. Rainover's there as well for support. Goes through, and then the arrow on Immedios, and you can see it's just a separated fight. Pobelter is dealing with Jensen on this Vladimir, kills him by himself, and then everybody else was making sure that those damage dealers couldn't be in those fights, or the tanks couldn't be on the damage dealers.
Exactly, because those are the guys that were walking away. They were like, we have no one to protect anymore. We can't do damage. Let's head to the fountain. Immortals, great focus.
And I hate to call on the draft too much because it's obvious about what you do with the picks, but even in Champion Select, it was looking like Immortals was going to have an easier time this game. They were able to get the Vladimir. They banned out the thing that did so well against the Vladimir. They also got a counter pick in the top lane. They also had winning lanes everywhere, as well as a stronger jungle. Like, they had the tools to do this to Cloud9, and they've been able to execute.
Oh, Pobelter caught a little bit, and Huni took a lot of damage there. Pobelter!
Oh, he might go there.
Very low, lots of shields. Heals come out as well. True Shot Barrage crosses the entire team, which means it loses a bit of damage towards the back end. And this is the yo-yo. Immortals back now. Cloud9 in, but it doesn't look like Immortals is going to pull that one back up. They head out. I don't know. They're teetering back and forth.
Yeah.
Looks like they'll stay for the last pokes on this turret.
It's a little dicey. They took a lot of unnecessary damage during that siege, and they already have 2 down inhibitors, so you obviously want to take advantage of having 2 down inhibitors with the Baron buff in the third wave. A lot of times, that's just an automatic take of the third inhibitor, but they didn't necessarily have the waves crashing into the Nexus turrets when they did their push. Now they're just going to try and go again. They've healed up a little bit, trying to get the last few shots.
Yeah, Immortals want to try to take it to that game 4. Immedios body slams forward and hits nothing.
Baron incredibly close to wearing off. Cloud9 maybe trying to bet on that happening. And they go, that was Impact trying to go in, it just wore off. Pobelter now coming in from the side, has Sneaky right in his grips. The Hemo Plague is on as the Summoner Healing Flashes come out. Everything being used as Pobelter gets a Crimson Rush back to full HP, and they're all over the turrets and the back line of Cloud9 at the same time.
And the dual Huni. Who's the best top laner?
He's got one more fight to prove that. Two for Impact so far. Huni brings back a great fight for that story here in Game 3, and Immortals are looking to put the final touches on this game as they're going for broke under the turret. A little bit of chaos here as they can't finalize and finish their targets, the priority ones that they want, and the turret gets the better of them.
Yeah, 3 down inhibitors, but I don't think they're going to end quite yet. They're thinking about it, though. They have Rainover and Huni can rejoin with an ultimate into the base. Here it comes. And then a teleport from the Yasuo to create a 4v4. But they also have no Baron. They're back to pushing the tempo. That's at least one thing for Immortals. They want to end it right here.
CP coming in. Flashes right out. Mercurial Scimitar uses that to get himself to safety, and they're just able to completely overpower the Cloud9 lineup here. 64,000 to 49,000, 31 minutes in. We said it could happen. We said Immortals could run it back. It might take a little bit more time, but they're very close to replicating Cloud9's victories here in this third place match. The regional qualifier.
Yeah, Immortals is back in every way.
Match.
those decisions down the stretch to try and keep this Nexus there. They almost got it, and now there's a bunch of super minions that C9 have to fight back. Ezreal, not exactly Sivir tier as far as ability to wave clear right here, so it's going to be a while before they get these off. It does put a small timer on Immortals, however, because all of the farm in the game is going to C9 right now.
Yeah, the TP back in, goes across Sneaky. This is a good ultimate here from Smoothie, but it doesn't hit Sneaky, and Huni would love to take it if it had done that, but knocks up Smoothie, decides to take it there, goes after Jensen in the back, but Rainover's tanking the turret the entire time. Goes down before the turret does, and now Wild Turtle Well, can't really hit the Nexus. Goes after Meteos, who has the GA, and decides to just back off because Huni died in the process as well.
Yeah. It was pretty crazy aggressive of Immortals to go to that play. It was a 4v4 with 2 Nexus turrets up, and they just did it. They got the Nexus turrets because the minions were helping, but now the inhibitors are beginning to respawn. So, like, Immortals need to actually proceed with a little bit of caution here. Yes, they're up 14,000 gold. Yes, they've killed every turret in the game, and C9 hasn't got a single one. But if they throw their bodies at the Nexus without killing it one more time, C9 might turn this one around.
Looking for it. Kobolds are taunted.
Doesn't have to pool, keeps himself safe. He can still get to that front line a little bit. Sneaky threading in the Qs. They are hitting nicely, as Immortals have to respect that damage that can come out from the AD carry a little bit. Everybody else on the line has to get into that fight.
It's a slow push forward for the Nexus. Are they going to just focus it down?
Yeah, they could probably just hit the Nexus here and win.
Hit up Rain over, he goes down. Actually, they're not focusing the Nexus, they're focusing for kills. Huni very low. No, they finally get the last few hits in, as they say, fight or win. They go for the win. Immortals is going to keep the series alive now 1-2.